Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Cage. I'm your host, Jim Graham, and now joining me on the line, we have a special guest. She is fresh off her victory at UFC 202 over Elizabeth Phillips. She is Rocky Pennington. Rocky, thanks for coming on Beyond the Cage.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, I saw a post on your Instagram after the fight. It didn't seem like you were very happy with your performance despite getting the win there at UFC 202. I was wondering if you can kind of expand upon that post you made a few weeks ago.
Yeah, a win is a win, which is always good to have, but I was a little frustrated. Um, Still trying to figure out some things within my game, just kind of how to take the fighter from the gym into the octagon. So those are little things that we're kind of working on. There was many opportunities in that fight where I could have just completely let my hands go. I do have some pretty insane hands once I start to let them go, but just little things that I kind of held myself back from.
However, you're now riding a three-fight winning streak, the longest winning streak in your career. What do you feel has been the difference these last three fights for you?
I've definitely just gotten my mind right as far as I kind of just fell in love with the sport again, and then uh, just kind of started believing in myself again. I don't feel like any of these girls can really beat me or have really beat me. It was more so me beating myself before I even walked into the octagon. So it's just kind of been some personal stuff that I've been going through and kind of changing to have fun again and go out and do what I need to do to get the wins.
Now, of course, you defeated Betch Kahea back in April, and then, of course, you took on Elizabeth Phillips next. Not as highly ranked or regarded as an opponent. Was that a fight you were looking for, or was that just kind of what was presented to you coming off the win there over Betch?
I was definitely looking for another fight within the top 10, but it was just a fight that was presented to me. So I'm not the type of athlete that turns down any fight. I believe every female brings a different challenge to the table. And our division's still so small that, I mean, we're all going to have to face each other anyway. So I definitely took the fight.
Now, coming into this fight here against Elizabeth, what was your game plan? Because it ended up kind of being like a heavy ground and pound strategy from you, taking her down three times in this fight.
It was just more so just to dominate every position. I wanted to do more of a striking match. I figured Elizabeth would come out and she would definitely wrestle me. So once she started trying to wrestle me, I just decided that I wanted to outbeat her in her own game.
Now, I wanted to get your opinion just because you fought her twice now and have beat her recently, just a year ago, in Jessica Andrade. She's now fighting at 115 pounds. Is that crazy to you that she fought you at 135 and now she's fighting at 115?
Not at all. I think it was a really smart move for her career. Jessica is a freaking powerhouse. She's a powerhouse at 135, but I think we're just a little bit too big for her. So I think the fact that she is capable of losing the weight and she made that move, I definitely think that she's going to do some damage down there in the 115 division.
Now, of course, with this winning streak, and like you said earlier, would have liked to got a top 10 opponent after Betch, but you got Elizabeth Phillips. Now, with beating Phillips and having this win streak, do you feel as though you will get a girl next that's in the top 10?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some news to come. Some things that I can't talk about at the moment, but let's just say some big moves are happening.
Now, of course, you got your rematch there against Andrade last year, and with things maybe going a little bit the wrong way for Holly Holm, do you feel as though that could be a rematch that could be coming soon?
I mean, there for a long time, I really wanted the rematch against Holly. If it comes, it comes. If not, then it doesn't. She's dealing with some injuries and stuff. So, I mean, like I said, the division's still so small that we'll all eventually rematch each other. We'll face each other, different things. But right now, there's a new opponent in the eye. So that's kind of what I'm focused on.
Now, looking at Holly for just a moment there in her last fight there against Shevchenko, were you surprised at all at how Shevchenko was able to dictate the pace of the fight, despite being the shorter fighter, not only in the range but with the reach, but with the height as well?
Not at all. I think that Holly has just rode a really huge hype train. She had a phenomenal record before coming into the UFC, but now she's on the level with a bunch of us elite athletes. So I think that it's really starting to show in her game. There's a lot of things, I guess, just from being an athlete myself, being in this sport for so long, that you can kind of see behind the scenes of everything. You can kind of read through other fighters. And I feel like she has too much hype behind her. So the fight went exactly how I thought it would go.
Now, getting to the now champion Amanda Nunes, she was able to defeat Miesha Tate, knocking out her in the first round. Obviously, if Amanda was going to win, that was probably going to be the way she was going to win, with a quick knockout. But did that impress you, her performance there at UFC 200?
Yeah, she had a flawless performance. And you can kind of tell when Miesha was walking out that something was off. Like I said, I mean, you can kind of just see those things. So during her walkout and everything else, things leading up to the fight, she looked mentally off. But Amanda went in there and she did exactly what she needed to. She put on a highlight performance, and it was definitely pretty.
Now, of course, a lot of people are still speculating who may be next for Amanda, either Juliana Pena or Shevchenko. Just as your thoughts as a fellow fighter in the division, also trying to get towards that goal of fighting for the championship, who do you think may be next for Amanda?
I think it'll definitely be Juliana.
Do you feel as though her performance over Kat maybe was better or supersedes what Valentina did against Holly Holm?
I think Valentina just, she's still climbing. She kind of came in. She's getting some top fights and stuff. But I think as far as the matchup and the other opponents and stuff, I think Juliana's done what she has needed to do, and she's the one that deserves the title shot next. I mean, her performance wasn't exactly exciting against Kat, but, I mean, she got the W. So, and she's been on this winning streak for a little while now.
Now, I know you kind of alluded to there's some things you can't talk about yet in terms of who your next opponent may be, but I'll just ask this then. Is a fight against Valentina Shevchenko a fight that you would like here in the future?
Of course. She's in the top 10, and like I said, each person brings a different challenge, so she's definitely a different challenge for me.
Now, I saw recently there on your Instagram there that you just had a birthday this week, so happy birthday. And
Thank you.
what'd you get into there for your birthday?
My family and my friends, they all surprised me. Tisha Torres flew into town and surprised me, and then from there I just kind of spent time with all the loved ones around me, and then on Saturday everybody surprised me with a birthday party, so we had a little birthday party, and then from there we went to Topgolf, and I just got to hang out with everybody I really care about, and so it was definitely probably one of the best birthdays I've had in all my 28 years.
Now, of course, did you plan it to have the fight before your birthday? That way you could enjoy some cake and not have to worry about making weight in a few weeks?
No, not at all. It just kind of happened. I mean, last year when I fought Jessica Andrade on the rematch, it was on my 27th birthday, which was an awesome birthday present for me. So, I mean, when a fight comes, it comes. I don't plan around it. I always seem to end up around the holidays that I'm going to fight anyways. So, I diet so much throughout the week and throughout the whole entire fight camp that I'm allowed a cheat day here and there. So I like to save those cheat days for either Christmas, Thanksgiving, or if it is my birthday.
Of course, you fought on the super huge UFC 202 with Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz. What did you think about that fight and any of the other fights that happened that evening you were there in Las Vegas?
I thought it was a great night of fights. Definitely a lot of talented athletes on there. The McGregor-Diaz fight, it was definitely it was a good fight, but I think Diaz won that fight.
Now, for you, you obviously just fought a few weeks ago. How quickly are you looking to get back in there?
I didn't sustain any injuries or anything like that. So I mean, I'm ready to fight whenever they say let's go.
UFC 203 is this weekend. Of course, there's a matchup in your division you might be having your eye on as Jessica I will be taking on Betch How do you think that fight might play out?
I think they're both going to come out very hungry. I mean, Betch is coming off a loss, Jessica's coming off of a loss as well. So they're going to come out pretty hungry. But you know, I'm rooting for Jessica, but I don't know. I think it might be a tough fight for her, and Betch may take the win.
Now, a lot of people have been talking about Ronda Rousey's return or not return, her kind of sitting there and do nothing. There's been a lot of memes kind of making fun of her, sitting around now. Do you feel that the criticism of her waiting this long to come back is justified? And are you yourself surprised, just as a fellow athlete, that she's taken this much time to come back from that fight against Holly?
Not at all. I mean, this sport takes a lot out of you, and it's something that you constantly live for, and you're constantly training. It gets exhausting. We have a life outside of fighting. I mean, Ronda's sitting here. She's making movies. She's doing all kinds of different things. She may just be sitting around on her butt enjoying life, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of people just put such high expectations. They don't realize that we're still human beings, and really, when it comes to fighting, it's just a passion of ours, and we're just doing what we love. So with the fact that she is taking time off and she's doing whatever she's doing, that's obviously making her happy in the time being. Like, I think that's great. I think it'll be one thing if Ronda decides to never return, then that's one thing. I mean, you should always return and maybe make a comeback or whatever it is that you want to do, but it's not for everybody. So if she chooses not to do that, I mean, she rode on top for a very long time. She was the face of women's MMA, doing some really big things for us. So there's nothing really for her to frown upon.
All right, I'll get you out of here with this. In a few weeks, Cris Cyborg will be having her second UFC appearance. She'll be fighting down in Brazil against relatively unknown fighter Lena Landsberg. Do you think Landsberg has any chance in this fight? And two, were you kind of surprised to see Cyborg taking on an unknown fighter making their UFC debut against somebody that had fought in the UFC previously, like her first matchup?
Cyborg's career is interesting to me. It's kind of interesting how she keeps getting the fights in Brazil. But I mean, I don't really have much to say about that. I don't really know her opponent that she's going against and stuff, so there's not too much insight I can give on that.
She is Rocky Pennington. You can follow her on Twitter at RockyPMMA and also on Instagram as well, Raquel_Pennington. And Rocky, thanks again for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to you fighting hopefully later this year.
Thank you. It was good chatting with you.
That was Raquel Pennington right here on Beyond the Cage.